In this video, we are going to talk about history of UFC. So before starting this video, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for the future updates. The Ultimate Fighting Championship has quickly become one of the most popular promotions in the world. From humble beginnings to entertainment and sports programming network, those three letters have gone through a lot as it approaches its 26th birthday this November. The UFC was founded by Art Davie, a New York businessman with a background in sales and marketing who wanted to answer the question, who do you think would win in a fight, a boxer or a wrestler eventually? Davie partnered with Royce Gracie, the son of legendary Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner Royce Gracie and Campbell McLaren, to create the first ever no-holds-barred competition, which became UFC The Beginning. The event took place on November 12, 1993. The event saw future Hall of Famer Royce Gracie steamroll each opponent in his path, which earned him the tournament title. What people were awestruck by, however, was how he effortlessly beat his opponents by submission, and how all of his opponents significantly outweighed him. Semaphore Entertainment Group, the original owner, saw glimpses of success during its tenure. In 1995, however, the UFC took a turn into obscurity. Politicians were banning the sport from their respective states, and the UFC was taken off of cable pay-per-view. Events were held in gymnasiums across random cities. Where there was not a state athletic commission, the UFC would do everything it could to hold events and stay afloat. By 2001, the owner of Southeast Group, Bob Merowitz, was overwhelmed by the amount of money his company was losing. Merowitz sold the UFC to Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta, who owned Palace Station casinos in Las Vegas. The brothers would make Dana White, a former aerobics instructor, the president of the promotion. The price tag upon purchase $2 million. Zuffa LLC, the new parent company of the UFC, would slowly make MMA into a legitimate sport, adding rules, weight classes, rounds and other things which helped the growth of the sport as the years followed. White is still the president, and the UFC has turned its company from a $2 million operation into $4 billion. UFC follows a rich history and tradition of competitive MMA dating back to Pankration, a Greek Olympic Games event introduced in 648 BC. About 80 years ago, a Brazilian form of MMA known as Vale Tudo sparked local interest in the sport. UFC then introduced organized and sanctioned MMA to the United States. The goal was to find the ultimate fighting champion by staging a single-night tournament featuring the best athletes skilled in the various disciplines of all martial arts, including karate, jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, grappling, wrestling, sumo, and other combat sports. The winner of the tournament would be crowned the champion. In January 2001, under the new ownership of Zuffa LLC and guided by the leadership of owners Frank Fertitta III, Lorenzo Fertitta, and Dana White, the UFC brand restructured MMA into a highly organized, sanctioned, and controlled combat sport. Headquartered in Las Vegas with a network of employees around the world, UFC produces more than 40 live events annually that consistently sell out some of the most prestigious arenas around the globe. UFC programming is broadcast in over 165 countries and territories, via more than 60 global broadcast partners, to more than 1.1 billion television households worldwide in over 40 different languages. UFC has the highest concentration of millennials, ages 18 to 34, in its fan base, with 40% compared to the top sports properties. In December 2013, UFC launched UFC Fight Pass Registered, a digital subscription service, which delivers exclusive live events, thousands of fights on demand, and original content to fans around the world, positioning the over-the-top digital network as the premier destination for fight fans. Beginning July 2015, UFC introduced the first ever athlete outfitting policy and UFC Fight Kit. The branded apparel, created in partnership with Reebok, UFC's exclusive worldwide outfitter, was introduced to elevate the brand's look and feel and provide athletes with high-quality gear specifically developed for MMA athletes. In December 2015, UFC broke ground on a new global corporate campus in Las Vegas, which includes a world-leading UFC Performance Institute focused on delivering the world's best MMA training facilities to support the scientific development of athletes and coaches, injury prevention, recovery, treatment and rehabilitation of professional athletes. In February 2016, UFC announced a 5-year extension of its partnership with Cleveland Clinic, along with a $1 million contribution, to continue its support of the professional fighter's brain health study. The study is focused on developing methods to detect the earliest and most subtle signs of brain injury in athletes exposed to head trauma, as well as determining which individuals may be more likely to develop chronic neurological disorders. UFC 116 was an event sponsored by UFC on July 3, 2010, which was voted the best major show in the 2010 Wrestling Observer Newsletter Awards. The event also had 1,160,000 pay-per-view buys worth $55 million to top the event as the 8th biggest event in the company's history. The fight card for the event included some of the biggest names in the history of the sport, including Brock Lesnar, Daniel Cormier, Miesha Tate, Amanda Nunes, Anderson Silva, Jose Aldo, Frankie Edgar, etc. The event thus brought in pay-per-view buys of around 1,200,000 and a lump sum of $71 million. UFC 196 McGregor vs. Diaz has some historical moments of the sport where Diaz wins over McGregor. With both fighters' popularity, the company could sell 1,500,000 price-per-views and bring in an income of around $80 million. Royce Gracie and Arthur Davey created the Ultimate Fighting Challenge. UFC history was defined by the idea that Royce Gracie had, who, in reality, wanted to promote his family's Brazilian jiu-jitsu martial arts studio. Regarding UFC history, Semaphore Entertainment Group is synonymous with it. The original pitch was for fighters of different fighting backgrounds against each other. It was an Semaphore Entertainment Group employee who came up with the UFC name. Who won the first UFC? Unlike the current weight divisions of the UFC, a forgotten gem in UFC history is that the UFC was an 8-man tournament regardless of weight class. Royce Gracie won the tournament and UFC won as a result. The winning prize money for UFC 1 was $50,000. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoy this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.